Coming out a decade ago this year, Thrilling 30 Windblade is now an oldie. But is she a goldie? Let's find out. Okay. Let's get it open. Okay, it's just plastic wrap. One of a kind sticker that I got from Japan. I collect figures, not boxes. Just another box. Why can't I open it? It's just a box. Actually, maybe I could just get a second copy on eBay. Yeah, it's not worth all this hassle. Much better. Well, now that that's settled, let's look at these two figures side by side. Aesthetics. Like a true fembot enjoyer, oh my God! Let's start with the looks. Right off the bat, the original toy has a much more slender, feminine shape. The arms are thin, the hips are wide, and the legs elegantly incorporate the jet engines while still managing to taper to a pair of small stilettoed shoes. Overall, this design just has a very nice, petite, feminine form factor. The Legacy United Windblade is a very different take on this design. She has a rugged, hardy look with thick arms, wide shoulders, and legs that taper outward into large, sturdy feet. Her backpack is also significantly bigger because it goes around her head instead of having the head fold into the torso like the original. While I absolutely love this design language on Elita 1, I don't think it fits super well for Windblade. But that's just personal preference. One thing that I do aesthetically prefer on the new figure is the face. The original's helmet goes down beneath her eyes, and it looks a bit weird, but this design is very human. Stability. The other downside to the Thrilling 30 release is that even though the feet fit perfectly into the design language of the figure, the heels fold forward due to transformation. This means that they often fold in while you're trying to stand her up, which can make it a difficult and annoying task. Surprisingly, once you do get her standing, she's actually about as stable as the Legacy United release. I was having a lot of trouble jostling the table enough to only tip the original. Articulation. Articulation is also shockingly good on the original for being a decade old. Thrilling 30 Windblade has a ball joint at the head, a secondary neck joint, articulated shoulder pads, ball joints at the shoulders, a bicep swivel, 90-degree elbows, wrist swivels, a waist swivel, ball jointed hips, thigh swivels, and a 90-degree knee bend. The wings can also rotate along two axes, and the fans can rotate and have spinning blades. She can also be posed in a number of sword unsheathing positions, which is awesome. To put it into perspective, this figure came out at the same time as the Age of Extinction line. The Legacy United release has about the same articulation, but swapping the secondary neck joint for ankle pivots and the ball joints at the limbs for double pin joints. The wing fans on this one can also rotate, but they do not have spinning blades. While they both basically have the same points of articulation, the overall posability seems better on the original. It's easier for her to hold her sword with both hands, and there are transformation joints at both shoulders that can be utilized. Accessories. The sword itself is also much better on the Thrilling 30 release. It's a simple, elegant plasma blade that slides nicely into its sheath. The new one has a thick, fiery blade that is probably much more durable, but it looks a bit tacky. It also doesn't include a sheath, which is a real letdown. The other accessory for both Windblades is a removable hair fan, which looks pretty awkward in the hands of both. Transformation. Transformation is much simpler on the Legacy release, but it is relatively frustration-free on both. The way things come together is more satisfying on the original, but things tab in more securely on the new one. Jet Mode. The Jet Mode is far superior on the original. Even though the feet are visible, there's a large gap in the middle and it can be hard to line things up and straighten them out. The overall shaping flows perfectly and everything is in proportion. On the new release, the shape of the jet is very blocky, the cockpit is much too small for a mini jet, the tail is much too bulky, the wing fans are much too small, and there is a full robot torso with arms clearly visible on the underside. The original has the same parts exposed underneath, but they're broken up and dispersed, which makes them much less obvious. The fan blades are especially egregious. Because the original figure is such a small, light-looking jet, and because the fan blades are so big, it feels almost believable that she would be able to perform a vertical takeoff with them. The new jet looks much heavier, but the fan blades are tiny. It doesn't look like they would help with a vertical takeoff at all. Looks and physics aside, both Windblades have a fold-down nose gear, and they both have sword storage in jet mode. The saving grace of the Legacy jet mode is that it has much better weapon storage. The flaming blade of the Legacy sword comes out from the back, creating an afterburner effect. Sure, it doesn't line up with the jet outlets, but it looks decently cool. Conclusion. In conclusion, I think the original Thrilling 30 Windblade is superior to the Legacy United release. It just looks better in both modes, and it can do better poses, albeit with a bit more difficulty. With that being said, however, according to the poll I conducted, a majority of you would prefer the Legacy release. So if that's the case, feel free to leave your wrong opinion down in the comments below. I tease, but the new Windblade is also a fine figure and well worth the $25 asking price. But of course, if you can find it for a better price, I suggest that. For the original, I would say you should get it if you can find it for $40 or less sealed. From my research, it seems that these two are by far the best official transforming Windblade figures. But unfortunately, I don't think either of them are the definitive version of the character. Hopefully, in the future, we'll get a perfect transforming Windblade, or at least a more affordable model kit. Looking at you, Yellow Park. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you want to support the channel, liking, subscribing, commenting, they all help. So thank you for watching and have a great day.